the failure of Taliban to bring the whole country under their military rule. This is, I think, one of the most important reasons for us to believe that the Taliban may now be in a position to consider the road and path of dialogue and negotiations, and instead of pressing for their exclusive right to govern the country through military means.
But you have so far not had any contact with Taliban over these points, so you don't know what's the result.
No, we do not have. If there is any contact, it should be through the United Nations Special Mission for Afghanistan, which we expect that they will communicate the content of this declaration to the Taliban and to get their opinions and reaction.
Can I be clear that in a few days we'll have an announcement with all the names of people that have been appointed to this government, but there won't actually be a leader, a kind of prime ministerial figure for this government to lead that government. Is that what you're saying?
There may be. There may be.
Who do you expect? You expect to be a series of kind of departmental heads appointed there?
I think the intention on the part of the United Front is to appoint someone from non-party personalities not having any direct affiliation with the parties, jihadi parties, to serve as a caretaker of the Prime Minister's office or as Prime Minister or Deputy Prime Minister.
Why do you feel that it's necessary to get away from the party members to the government?
The past experience and the failure of the party personalities having direct affiliation with the parties to perform their duties based upon the expectation of the people of Pakistan.
Who is in the process of selecting those non-party figures then?
The United Front, the members of the United Front.
Right.
That there would be a collective decision by the United Front.
And the front is arriving at decisions. They just each party linked to the front has a delegation. There's no superiority or seniority.
No.
Right.
ببخشید. آقای وزیر، در طرح صلح پیشنهادی شما به ویژه در ارتباط با غیر نظامی کردن کابل، حوزه نظارت سازمان ملل تا چه اندازه خواهد بود؟ سازمان چه نقشی دارد؟
در کدام مسئله بخصوص؟
در طرح صلحتون به ویژه در ارتباط با غیر نظامی شدن کابل، شما این حوزه نظارت یا حدود تصمیماتتون تا چه اندازه متکی هست به نظارت سازمان ملل؟ یعنی چه نقشی میطلبه که این سازمان داشته باشه؟
از نقطه نظر اصول ما معتقد به ایستیم که تنها سازمان ملل متحد برای یک مؤسسه بی‌طرف به همکاری سازمان کنفرانس اسلامی میتونه نقطه قابل اعتماد و مورد اعتماد برای طرفین جنگ در افغانستان و همسایه های افغانستان باشه. ما تمام اعتماد گذاشتیم به سازمان ملل متحد و سازمان کنفرانس اسلامی تا برای حل قضیه افغانستان و بحران افغانستان مساعی خود به خرج بدن. این که تا کدام اندازه سازمان ملل متحد میتونه در تحقق این هدف مؤثر باشه بسته به موضع‌گیری روشن و جرأتمندانه سازمان ملل متحد و سازمان کنفرانس اسلامی است.
The question was asked in terms of the peace plan, especially the issue of demilitarization of Kabul, the degree of the involvement of the United Nations as well as the OIC. And the answer to that was that we ask of them that they shall be as supervisors of this peace of the demilitarization of Kabul. The level or the degree of their involvement depends on how much they want to do. In other words, it's unknown as of now.
Also, we believe as a matter of principle that the United Nations, as an independent organization, not supporting one side, would be a source of confidence and trust to the conflicting sides as well as to the neighboring countries of Afghanistan, which in one way or another may influence the return of peace to Afghanistan. So we, the people of Afghanistan, place their confidence upon the United Nations and also the Organization of Islamic Conference. The degree of their success depends upon the fact that to what extent they would courageously identify the factors for the continuation of the conflict, and to what extent they will take bolder actions in order to put an end to the interference, which is one of the main factors.
So with this government, am I right in thinking you're looking for perhaps 5 or 10 people, intellectuals, technocrats, mostly abroad? This process is going on, hunting for these people, putting the proposal to them?
Yes, inside and outside of Afghanistan.
Do you contemplate the inclusion of the king in there?
The Islamic State of Afghanistan, in the past, they have declared their readiness to welcome the services of any particular personality and national figures who would be in a position to bring about a situation under which the people will take the path of negotiations and dialogue. The former king of Afghanistan, as a national figure, may be in a position to perform an important mission, and the Islamic State of Afghanistan has no disagreement with that.
Has there been any contact between the United Front and King Zahir?
Not up to this point. And of course, this does not exclude other personalities who have served in the political scene of Afghanistan in the past.
How many figures then are you looking for roughly? Is it 10 or 20 or?
I don't think I'm in a position to specifically give you a number, but probably if the United Front is not in a position to complete the whole composition of the government, within 2 days, some members of the government, important posts, will be announced.
And so there'll be a government, and then there'll also be a parliament as well, you mentioned.
Exactly. It is the view of the United Front. Since the will of the nation is the source of national sovereignty, we have to bring about a kind of provisional parliament in the name of a national council, and the United Front will issue specific instruction to the government to take steps for the selection or election of the members of this national council, which would be in cooperation with the United Nations Special Mission for Afghanistan.
What would the relation between the jihadi parties and this new government be? Or the United Front, for that matter, and this new government? What would the relation between them?
One is the United Front, which would enjoy the support of most of the jihadi parties now. One is the composition of the government. As I stated earlier, based upon the experiences that we have gained from the past 5 years, more than 5 years of Islamic State of Afghanistan, I think generally there seems to be a preference on the part of the jihadi parties to entrust the experts and intellectuals who are capable of discharging their responsibilities and taking care of specific ministries. Of course, if there are some individuals within the parties who would be capable for the particular post, their services might be needed.
you know what people are going to say though? This government is just simply the creature appointed by the jihadi parties, and with no power of its own. Just the sort of the creature of the jihadi parties, really.
I think the United Front is has resolutely decided to extend all support to the future government. If the government is successful and at least convening the Loya Jirga within 6 to 9 months, I think this would be a major achievement. And that would be the beginning of putting an end to the conflict and going to a process by which the people of Afghanistan will decide about the future major political questions.
آیا اتحاد نظر کاملی بین اعضای جبهه برای درخواست ایفای نقش از ظاهر شاه وجود داره؟
Is there an agreement between all the members of the United Front on the role that Zahir Shah, as presumably mentioned here, can play?
ما پیشتر اشاره کردم به یک مطلب که استفاده از خدمات هیچ یک از شخصیت‌های گذشته افغانستان در اینجا رد نشده. این معنایی رو نمیده که اعضای جبهه متحد اونا همشان به این عقیده هستند که یگانه راه حل زعامت پادشاه سابق افغانستان است، بلکه ما گفتیم که در این پروسه برای حل مشکلات آینده افغانستان هر یک از شخصیت‌های ملی افغانستان که در موقعیت انجام یک خدمت موثر بر برگشت صلح در افغانستان باشند، اونا حق دارند که در مساعی ملی به جهت پایان دادن به جنگ افغانستان سختگیری بکنند. در بین خود جبهه متحد اصلا موضوع زعامت پادشاه سابق افغانستان یا واگذاری یک رول و یک موقعیت خاص برای پادشاه سابق افغانستان مورد بحث قرار نگرفته.
As I mentioned earlier, on the role of any particular individual that can contribute to the peace process in Afghanistan, that role has never been not acknowledged. However, on the issue of the former king of Afghanistan, the front hasn't discussed as to which role he could play in terms of peace process. However, it does not close the door of possibility of anyone who can positively contribute to the peace process in Afghanistan, that door is always open.
You seem to put quite a lot of trust in the United Nations in putting this whole sort of process forward. Yet you have not extended any landing permissions to United Front to come here to Mazar Sharif since the fighting 2 weeks ago. Can you give us an explanation for that?
We have not issued landing permit for whom?
United Nations flights.
Yeah. I think if there has not been any permit so far issued for the United Nations, it has been probably due to some security measures. We are in a position to welcome the United Nations Special Mission to come to Mazar Sharif, and I'm glad that you asked this question. We have requested Dr. Hall, the head of the Special Mission, to come to Mazar Sharif and to Bamyan and Painjshir to visit these areas where we have a large number of Pakistani prisoners of war, so that he would see the prisoners of war, Pakistani prisoners of war, and report to the United Nations Security Council as well as to the General Assembly based upon the mandate the Security Council of the United Nations gave to Dr. Hall in Resolution 1076 of 22nd October 1996.
Radio Iran, I think, reported a couple of days ago that there were rumors, or the suspicion at least, that part of that whole thing against General Dostum might have been engineered through some funds or maneuvers which were channeled secretly by foreign countries through the United Nations. Do you have any indications that there's any truth to that?
I do not have any indications to prove that, and I don't think it would be productive and engaging in these kind of issues which does not bear any direct relation to the peace process in Afghanistan.
You're really saying here today that the jihadi parties are publicly accepting that their attempt to govern has failed really, and it's time for somebody else to take over.